Hey, Gershon from Dekoningtan here. I just wanted to make a quick behind the scenes video of how I made the song To the Clouds. Well, because someone requested it, and also just to show a little bit of my process. I won't be making this live. I'm kind of going back and showing you more about the technical setup of how I set everything up. So I'm going to start OBS and show you guys kind of around. All right, so if we start at the beginning of the track, I basically started with piano. I'm using Labs Glass Piano, soft on the soft mode. Now, if you don't know what Labs is a excellent free resource for samples. It's under the umbrella of Spitfire Audio, and they release a lot of free instruments, or they haven't been doing it as much lately. A lot of great free instruments that are sampled, and I have basically made a simple like GUI for Reason, a combinator, which I have for free as well on my coffee shop if you want to go check that out. So this is the actual instrument, the Glass Grand Soft. I'm going to turn it up so you guys can hear it. So as you can hear, it's a very nice kind of, I think the pedal must be down or something. It's got a felt vibe. And you can hear quite a bit of reverb on there because I put reverb on the entire track to make it all sound like it's in one space. We'll get to that part later. So as a basic, I have the Glass Soft piano here. It does its thing at the bottom. And the main reason that I wanted to start off with the piano is obviously it's a great versatile instrument, but I wanted it to start off rhythmically, and I wanted to have a similarity in the track to another track I've made called The Inheritance, which is also kind of a piano-based track. So I wanted the softness. That's why I chose a soft piano, and the whole song is kind of, I wanted it to have the vibe that everything's being played in a room together live at the same time, in quite a big space, right? So a hall. And so that's why I have, on all the instruments, I usually actually put my reverb separately on my instruments, so I will put it as a effects insert, which you can see over here. Let me just close that for you guys. So you can send, things through the effects, and that way you can control the levels more. But in this case, because the instrumentation is more minimal, I actually wanted them all in the same space, and I didn't care as much about controlling minor details. After that, we have over here, you see a viola. This is actually the shorter plucks on the viola. So you can hear that that's very, very short. For this, I use Sign Player's stuff. So these are spiccatos, by the way. You can see that over here. I will say about Sign Player, a lot of their stuff is very expensive. But it's also really good. You are getting what you pay for. So what I've done with it is, first of all, I didn't use that in this particular song, but I highly recommend their down-tuned string quartet. That is in my song The Clockman, and everyone loves how that sounds. When they talk about the strings in that, they say, oh, they sound very expressive, very realistic. You have the quartet, the first violin, second violin, viola, and cello. And then you also get all these cool pads, drones, and plucks that you can also mix in. They have just a really lovely sound. So if you're gonna buy only one strings thing from them and you're trying to go cheaper, because like I said, Sign can be quite expensive, Amber is a great thing I would recommend. It just has a lovely tone. If you want me to, I actually kind of did a little bit of a video comparing Friction from Reason to Amber. So you could watch that if you want to get more of an idea of it. If you want me to make a video specifically about Amber, really digging into that sounds pack, I can. Just request, let me know. Many people who have a lot of samples might feel the same way, but sometimes it feels as if you have too many and you get kind of like a choice paralysis. So with this in mind, I was like, if I'm going to buy things from Sign, it's very expensive. I want to actually save money. So I'm going to only buy specific instruments. So for example, for Mirior, which is like period instruments, I only bought one, oboe da caixa, which I've used in quite a few tracks, and it's lovely. And the other stuff in this pack is fantastic. I just don't need it. Maybe I will one day, and I'll buy another single one. For this song, I used strings, the solo viola and the solo cello, and there's also a string quartet. And Salud, again, the sound is so incredible. It's such a great pack. But I didn't need everything in it. I didn't need all the vocals. I already have choirs from Sound Iron and other stuff. So I just bought the individual instruments. In my case, if you're an educator like me, you can also sign up with Sign to get the educator's discount, which is generous and really great of the company to do that. So I get educator's discount, but even if you buy these single instruments without that discount, the price is still quite good for the quality of what you're getting. I mean, if you can see here all these articulations you get, and then you get different mic positions as well. Hold on, here they are. So all these different mic positions, so you can really blend the sound to match whatever you're trying to create. So in this case, we got the spiccato short sounds, and over here we also have a cello doing the same thing, spiccato. And so these together, they kind of give that driving force at around measure 34. All right, going on to the drums. So for the drums, I actually used this Kong instrument called Leo's Electro-Tar. I actually changed the instrument quite a bit from what it originally was. It's a little bit more of an electronic sounding kit, drum kit. So if I'm going to play these. So you can hear, I'm trying to see if I can find the original sample a little bit more. Hold on, let me turn this thing up. These are samples, but when I first started making the song, I was actually kind of going for a postal service sound. So I didn't actually think it was going to be more of a realistic drum sound. I thought maybe I'll go for this little bit of like a lo-fi postal service vibe in the song to accompany the piano. But I didn't end up doing that, so I ended up changing the samples. Here they are. So as you can hear, that's not a hi-hat. So what I actually did for that is I took a sample of a train that is arriving at a station. I got it on Freesound, and I just took 2 different samples of that train going on the track. And the idea kind of came because of the song's feeling. I was like, oh, it's a little bit like, Stop This Train in terms of feeling. Stop This Train by John Mayer. In terms of feeling. So I was like, oh, why don't I just actually put a train in there and see what that sounds like? And it ended up becoming kind of like a snare. And you can hear that there's quite a lot of reverb on there, and that's again on purpose because I wanted it to sound like further away than the other instruments in the space. And then, so there's actually like triple reverb. There's like the actual reverb for the drum itself, and then there's the whole set, and then there's tar reverb on top of that. So, and then actually on top of that, there's another reverb. So there's 4 reverbs. Wow. Which is this colossal verb, which only comes on at this point. Hold on, let me just. And that was just to make the transition smoother as that part of the song happens, so that there's a kind of after flutter effect. And there's a circuit on there as well. I actually love Audiomatic. If you have reason, throw Audiomatic on things. It's just a fun, experimental, and very easy to use effect that they have. So that's how I did the drums. Over here for the bass drum, this is actually, I think it's an acoustic guitar being slapped in the original thing. So Leo's Electro-Tar. So I think he uses guitar as like a drum kit. And then there's also a little bit that I used, one more effect, try to figure out where I put it exactly. Let me check. Yeah, this one. This is a muted kind of riff from the guitar that I put in there as well. So that's kind of how I did the drum. And again, I wanted this idea of players playing live together. So I purposefully actually didn't quantize the drums too much. If you listen to it, it's a tiny bit offbeat. So if I'd quantized that really, really well, it would have been super tight. I didn't want that. I wanted it to feel like these people are playing together in a room. So I purposely left it a little bit loose, and I think it gives the track a more natural vibe. So that's how I did that one. After that, we have the harp guitar. So the harp guitar is just Soundar's Pangea, which comes with Reason. I think Reason 10 onwards, maybe Reason 9. Anyway, what's great about this little instrument is this harp guitar is so versatile. You can get it to sound not at all like a harp guitar, or you can use it for like as a bass kind of. In this regard, when I think of a harp guitar, I always think Andy McKee, who has the one that has bass strings across the top. So I always often use it as kind of a bassy instrument. The filters and delay and reverb that's built into the plugin is actually a great way to shape the sound. So if we actually check if I take the filter off, it sounds really different. And I wanted a palm mute kind of vibe. So that's why I put the filter cutoff at 85.12 hertz. And so I basically try and sculpt the sound of this harp guitar whenever I use it to kind of match the track I'm going for. And sometimes I'll even automate the filter envelope if I'm trying to go for more of a chordy, guitar chordy thing. So if I'm trying to do like a... That almost sounds like a cymbalum as well. So you can get quite a few cool sounds out of this instrument. So that's the harp guitar. Let me actually change the settings back. There we go, so you can hear it. And you can see that the echo in the room is so high that this tone continues going. Last, we have the viola solo and the second viola solo. I'll just put those together. They are both legato, again, from Sine. And that's why I have them separate, because you can't play chords when you're doing legato. Legato, if you don't know what that means, it means that you're hearing the change of the notes. So they've sampled, like if you're playing from A to B, they sample the movement in between as well, so, and they put that all into the samples, so it sounds more natural when you it doesn't sound as sampled, essentially. So here we go. What I love about all of Sine's strings is the playing of the players is captured really well in that it sounds expressive. The only other company I can think of right now that's kind of trying to do a similar thing, or has tried to do a similar thing, is so the Crow Hill company is trying to do that, where they try and get the sound of the players in the mix, like the uniqueness of that. And then Spitfire Audio has had stuff like that as well. So you can shop around, and look at different things. There's so many great sample companies out there that you can check out, and there's all different types of prices. I will say that in my experience, you get what you pay for. If you spend very little, unless it's on a crazy discount, it isn't as real sounding. Whereas if you spend a little bit more, and you're very picky and you do a lot of research, you get a really nice sound. So all that came together, and that goes to the mixer bus over here. This is Star Reverb, which is, again, a VST. So I got it for free. I forget how. I think I got it because of when I bought my Focusrite interface, it came as like a bundle. This is a lovely, lovely reverb. Obviously, there's many lovely reverbs out there. If you want There's so many good reverbs. Like, honestly, if you want a good free one, Analog Obsession's Room is free, and it's fantastic as well. I just really like this one. Particularly, I use it in a lot of my mixes. It sounds to me very natural. So again, I made a little skin for it for Combinator, which you can get for free on my Coffee if you want to go get that. And that's just for workflow. It's just easier. I mean, I can actually click open and just open it and mess around with it, because once I set it up, I don't tend to change that much. But this looks cool, so I like that. And that all the instrumentation goes through that reverb, and then at the end we have Ozone, which really is just gluing the mix together. That's about it. Lastly, I like to check things on the loudness meter. If you're going to buy a mastering plugin and you only have money to get one, Ozone is fantastic. It is so good. It has changed my life in terms of made it so much easier when it comes to mastering. I'm not a masterer. There, that's the good word. I'm not a masterer. I know there's people who that's their career is to master tracks, and those people are amazing. I can't do all that stuff. So I usually use a preset, and then I will mess around with each individual setting until I get what I want. So for example, added focus, right? You have an imager and a maximizer, and then I'll check the mix, I'll listen to it, and I'll by ear kind of try and figure out if I need to mess with some of the things. Ozone is amazing. I'm not being paid to say this. I really like Ozone. So I use it on pretty much all my tracks. After that, I checked the loudness overall, and I try to make sure that my loudness is usually from not minus 20 loops integrated to minus 11 loops integrated. So when you upload things to like major streaming services, they think they tend to do it around negative 14. I'm going to actually check that. Yeah, negative 14. That's why I kind of try at least to get close-ish to that. Definitely not way above it, because then your tracks will get turned down. It also depends on the type of music you make, obviously how much that affects the sound. But anyway, I try to make sure I'm around that amount of loops integrated. And that's the kind of behind the scenes of how I made To the Clouds. Obviously, if you'd like more stuff like this, where I dig into the behind the scenes of how I made something, I can do that. Or if you'd prefer me to, run you through a specific instrument or like how I play things, happy to make videos on that kind of stuff too. Yeah, just let me know. I hope that was interesting and useful to some of you, and I hope you have a great, lovely day. Peace.